Breaking news. Kim and the Russian defense minister inspect important weapons. Saturday, Kim Jong-un, leader of North Korea, met with the Russian defense minister in Vladivostok, the latest stop on his rare trip abroad. While there, he inspected cutting-edge weapons, including a hypersonic missile system. Kim was greeted by Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and an honor guard upon his arrival in Vladivostok, a Pacific port city close to the borders of China and North Korea. The Russian Defense Ministry released video of the two men grinning as they inspected nuclear bombers at an airfield and then boarded a warship. An officer-dominated entourage, a symbolic exchange of rifles with President Vladimir Putin, and a visit to a fighter jet factory in Komsomolsk on Amur all show that Kim's long tour of Russia's Far Eastern region, which began on Tuesday, has focused heavily on military matters. Both Russia and North Korea, two former allies, are currently subject to extensive international sanctions, the former for its invasion of Ukraine, the latter for its nuclear tests. The West is worried that Kim's first official trip abroad since the coronavirus pandemic will result in a defiant arms deal between Pyongyang and Moscow. To keep fighting in Ukraine, Moscow may be interested in purchasing North Korean ammunition, while Pyongyang seeks Russia's assistance in further developing its internationally condemned missile program. According to the Kremlin, no deal has been or will be made. After meeting Kim on Wednesday at the Vostochny Cosmodrome, about 8,000 kilometers from Moscow, Putin spoke positively about the possibilities for military ties and the prospect of increased cooperation with North Korea. On Saturday, Kim was shown strategic Tu-160, Tu-95 MS, and Tu-22M3 bombers at the Nevichi airfield in Vladivostok. The Russian Ministry of Defense has stated that these planes are the air component of Russia's strategic nuclear forces. Moscow claims to have released video of Kim attentively listening to high-ranking military officials and inspecting a Russian plane. In addition to the hypersonic, air-launched Kinzhal missile system, Russian officials displayed a variety of fighter jets to the reclusive leader. The head of the Russian Navy, Admiral Nikolai Yevmenov, gave Kim and Shoigu a tour of the anti-submarine destroyer Marshal Shaposhnikov and detailed the ship's capabilities, including its ability to launch Kalibr cruise missiles. Russia attacks Ukraine with Kinzhal and Kalibr missiles. Kim, accompanied by Russian officials, later attended a performance of the classical ballet The Sleeping Beauty. Cooperation that is troubling. Putin is trying to strengthen alliances with other world leaders who have been isolated by the West, and Kim is visiting Russia at the same time. At the Spaceport Summit on Wednesday, Kim and Putin presented each other with rifles, fueling speculation that an arms export deal could be on the table despite warnings from the West. On Friday, Dmitry Peskov, a spokesman for the Kremlin, told reporters that no agreements had been signed and that there was no plan to sign any during Kim's visit. According to the Kremlin, during his meeting with Kim, Putin accepted an invitation to visit North Korea and offered to send a North Korean to space. Washington is worried that Moscow might aid North Korea in making satellites after Moscow brought up the possibility of doing so. U.S. State Department spokesman Matthew Miller told reporters after the summit that the cooperation announced during Kim's Russia trip is quite troubling and would potentially be in violation of multiple UN Security Council resolutions. He mentioned that North Korean satellites were used in the creation of Pyongyang's missiles. Two recent attempts by Pyongyang to launch a military spy satellite into orbit were both unsuccessful.